And these days, it becomes very fashionable for people to talk about democracy when society is divided and polarized along ethnic, religious lines, and we are not party to that kind of democracy. There is no border issue, there is no conflict, there is no tension in the first place. To come to your question, 17 years of achievement in this country has been to, first of all, rebuild the country that was devastated by a very long and destructive war, to start to build a nation, put in place an infrastructure, create an environment for development, promote social programs in education and health. 17 years, despite the challenge and obstacles, has been an exciting experience for this country and this nation. And we can talk about achievements, and that may take a long, long time, but I can assure you, Eritrea has achieved remarkably in the economic sector, in the social sector, and we can now say we are embarking on a new era where we would be in a position to exploit the natural endowments and resources of this country. Virtual demarcation means virtual demarcation has closed the chapter. Our border is demarcated more than any other border within this continent. And you can assume that the border issue, the conflict, is resolved by this virtual demarcation.
Welcome to Drive for Africa. You get away to the heart of Africa's dynamic political landscape and transformative stories. And today we dive into the remarkable journey of Eritrea, a nation that emerged from a 3-decade struggle for independence to carve its path on the world stage. Join us as we explore the triumphs and trials faced by President Isaias Afwerki, who has led this resilient East African nation for years. From border disputes to bold self-reliance policies, Eritrea's narrative is one of the defiance and determination. Don't miss out on sharing your perspectives. Reach out via email or SMS, and let's dive into the untold stories of Africa, right here on Drive for Africa.
В значительной степени тот уровень благосостояния, который достигнут в бывших колониальных державах, он основан на ограблении Африки. Это всем известно хорошо. Да, собственно, исследователи в той же самой Европе этого и не скрывают. Так и есть. Они говорят, на горе и страданиях африканских народов построено в значительной степени, не говорю целиком и полностью, нет, но в значительной степени благополучие колониальных держав. Это очевидный факт. Ограбление, работорговля, конечно. Мы будем готовы уже в ближайшие месяцы, в ближайшие 3-4 месяца безвозмездно предоставить Буркина-Фасо, Зимбабве, Мали, Сомали, Центральноафриканской Республики, Эритреи по 25-50 тысяч тонн зерна. Обеспечим и бесплатную доставку этой продукции потребителям.
We condemn tendencies by some powerful countries who preach peace, human rights and democracy, and yet clandestinely fund conflicts and the unconstitutional change of governments for their own narrow interests. We further condemn the use of unilateral and illegal sanctions as a foreign policy tool at the disposal of some powerful nations, such as those sanctions imposed on Zimbabwe.
The border dispute is resolved. It's not unresolved. The decision of the Boundary Commission 6 years ago, its decision to demarcate the border virtually and quit has closed the chapter. So I would say there is no border issue, there is no conflict, there is no tension in the first place. To come to your question, 17 years of achievement in this country has been to, first of all, rebuild the country that was devastated by a very long and destructive war, to start to build a nation, put in place an infrastructure, create an environment for development, promote social programs in education and health. 17 years, despite the challenge and obstacles, has been an exciting experience for this country and this nation. And we can talk about achievements, and that may take a long, long time, but I can assure you Eritrea has achieved remarkably in the economic sector, in the social sector, and we can now say we are embarking on a new era where we would be in a position to exploit the natural endowments and resources of this country to give more impetus for our developmental programs. Our border is demarcated more than any other border within this continent, and you can assume that the border issue, the conflict, is resolved by this virtual demarcation.
Now, what are the chances of Eritrea normalizing relations with Ethiopia?
When our territory is occupied, despite the agreements, the decision given by the Boundary Commission, and now, as I indicated earlier, when we have the border demarcated virtually, the presence of occupation forces makes it impossible for any normalization of relationships. I also would like to distract the attention from the real issues, would raise this matter time and again, but I don't see any ground for any eruption of tension or confrontation. How many times have we heard this, and how many lies have been told the last 5 or 8 years? And I think this is compromising again and again the credibility of the administration in Washington, and these shameless lies repeated again and again have no weight whatsoever in what the United States, as far as Eritrea's linkage with terrorism, which has become an impossible fact to prove on the part of the United States, but you can hear these lies again and again, and I'm not surprised. We're not worried about these accusations. Not at all. No one is worried about these lies, baseless accusations, and you can imagine how many governments, countries, and individuals have been accused of linkage with terrorism when there are no facts on the ground. It's the same story as the weapons of mass destruction. It's the same pattern and trendy behavior we have witnessed all along, and no one in this country is worried about this accusation. It looks like you're talking on behalf of the United States and the administration in Washington, and your list of questions seem to be provided by, I don't know, someone in Langley or the administration in Washington. I'm not bothered about these accusations. I can assure you these lies will be repeated again and again with no leverage on the ground.
Okay, let's talk about your recent visit to Iran. What did that trip achieve?
It's part of the long-standing relationship with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The early 60s, 70s, the present Islamic Republic of Iran and the support, the moral support, the struggle for liberation in this country got from the Iranian Revolution has been a landmark in the history of this country and bilateral ties with Iran, and there was nothing new in this relationship. We can imagine going back 3-4 decades when Ayatollah Khamenei was during Friday prayers praying for Eritrea and the freedom of Eritrea. And this visit comes as an expression of solidarity between Eritrea and Iran. Telling me that the democracy and the elections we have witnessed the last 5 or 10 years promoted by the United States as a separate agenda to serve its interests in a number of regions of this world, I can tell you these are not elections for us. This is not democracy for us. If you mean democracy is polarizing society vertically, that's not democracy for us. And these days, it become very fashionable for people to talk about democracy when society is divided and polarized along ethnic, religious lines, and we are not party to that kind of democracy.
Well, are you prepared to tolerate any kind of opposition in Eritrea?
What kind of opposition? Agents hired by the CIA from Langley, or opposition from inside, or any kind of opposition?
There was something of a crackdown against the opposition by the Eritreans, by your government in 2001. Journalists were in prison.
Not at all. Not at all. You are disinformed. There has never been any opposition in this country. This is a total lie. And if you're talking about a political process, that is a different matter. If you're talking an opposition that has been fabricated and created by Langley, then you would call that an opposition. I would not call that an opposition. Coming back again with the same list of questions provided to you by the State Department or the CIA, and you're trying to make this issue a political issue in the name of Al Jazeera International. I can assure you, freedom of press, if you mean the press that is financed by conglomerates in the world, financed by military industry in the world, if you think the financing and managing of media, the CNN, BBC, or even Jazeera International, by special interest groups is freedom of press, I can tell you we're not party to that kind of freedom of press.
All right. Well, let's look at food aid in Eritrea. You adopted a policy some time ago of self-reliance. In fact, you kicked out most of the aid agencies in Eritrea, with the exception of a few that are still working there. Is Eritrea now self-sufficient in its food supply?
No, I wouldn't talk about that. Whether Eritrea is food self-sufficient or not is not the issue. If anyone is interested in providing food aid and handouts, give the 7 or 6 million children in Ethiopia the food aid you have, give the Somalis in the Ogaden the food aid you have, and anyone interested in providing aid could provide aid to the Somalis that are being suffocated and strangulated by the presence of occupation forces. We are not in a position to talk about food aid. We are not taking handouts. We advise those who are interested in trying to use aid as politics and go give that aid to places that need it. We don't want to be spoon-fed. We would like to live on our toil and be enabled to secure food for our people. That's what we do, and we don't want to be crippled by food aid that is linked to an agenda of dependency, and we've overcome this by denying and rejecting food aid intended for crippling us. This is another fabrication. Go and talk about food shortage in Egypt, food shortage in the United States. Ask people in the streets of the United States who are compromising, who are even sacrificing their breakfast, their dinner, or their supper because the food supplies there are not enough, because prices are going high. And we would like for those who are interested to address this issue, look otherwise. And people telling you that food shortage in Asmara are very unique under the circumstance, that would be a total fabrication. This is not a new discovery. The gold reserves in this country and reserves in other mineral resources have been discovered 70, 80 years ago by the Italian colonialists when they did a complete, a survey of the whole country. We're rediscovering. We're just preparing ourselves for exploiting these substantial resources of gold and other minerals. And at the moment, we're not talking about gold. We would not like to talk about this. We would like to, first of all, put in place a very solid basis and a foundation for the growth and development of our economy. Then comes gold and other resources. World Bank can say anything. They can fabricate figures. We witnessed this happen not only in Eritrea but elsewhere. I wouldn't take World Bank figures seriously. We have a state of war. For the last 10 years, we've been involved, we've been forced to mobilize the majority of the young in this country, and that's a duty. We have to defend this country, and we're using that resource for putting in place a solid foundation for the economy of this country. If you have figures talking about 10%, 20% of our economy going to the army or to our defense, this could be a distortion of figures by the World Bank or other financial institutions of an agenda to tell the outside world that the economy is not healthy in this country.